10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Solved Online, the online information solution service through legislation.gov.uk for all clients at all levels, in all problems. And today's topic, Solved Online, legislation updates and solutions on US CFR, FDA for protection of human subjects. Again, and there's not a time limit on this. I'm just going to get it done because this is very important. Again, a lot of the legal breaches that are being done. Again, Solved Online YouTube platform is the report on business solutions through legislation.gov.uk by reviewing and highlighting past and present acts. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe to help build a global online business solution system on accountability, sustainability, and transparency in growth and protection. You know, the motto, again, Solved Online knows that there's no business like the king's business. We provide, again, solutions, discovery, documents, reference, show discoveries, again, direction, instructions, and accuracy and correction. Again, let's get to that 1,000 subscribers to start that online webinar seminar. Again, to teach everyone how to research like a lawyer, barrister, solicitor. Yes, again, Solved Online is the research and the media department for House of Lancelot. Again, we're just going to go over to the updates, the legislation updates on legislation.gov.uk. Again, I'm just going to share the screen. Yes, because it's going to be a very interesting, again, topic, because, again, I see that, you know, throughout my research, my social research, there are a lot of breaches being done online where, again, the type of information that is being provided is breaching, again, breaching legal grounds, so that, you know, people that do, you know, or would need, again, support in future would not be able to get support in future because, again, what they are promoting by their words, what they are saying. So it's very important to, again, understand, again, the legal, you know, context that you put words in, because, again, these things are, you know, very important when it comes to, again, knowing your legal right. Because, again, operation is what operation is at the end of the day, you know, where operations, you know, goes, it goes into, again, legal competition, where you would need to define, you know, where the breach and why the breach has taken place and how it's taken place, for you to be able to have your, you know, legal rights. And if you know your legal rights, it will be a good stage to fight. You would have your tools, and these are the things that needs to be done. So in the meanwhile, just gonna, you could say, provide the legislation updates. As you can see, if the screen is being shared, and just double check. So yes, just sending out some requests also on the Clubhouse. So again, this is legislation check for legislation.gov.uk. Very important. Let me just double check again. Yes, so everyone can see. We're gonna go down to legislation published recently. As you can see, UK statutory instruments, and there are only 2, so it's good. So at least I can just get into the solution straight away. And the 2 are, again, the first 2. The first one is the health protection, coronavirus, international travel, and operator liability, England, Amendment number 8, Regulations 2020. And the next one is the driver's hours and tachographs, temporary exceptions number 2, regulations 2021. Again, so those are the two. As you can see, there's the importance that's coming out with the health protection, coronavirus, international travel, and operator liabilities, England Amendment number 8, regulations, because I know they always need to update that based on, again, the regulations of flying, because that's a part of, again, the health protection that we need to be able to understand. So, just cover the legislation updates, and that's important. So we're going to go over now to, again, the US CFR, and then the FDA section, where, again, people would need in the US to be able to function and to have, again, the correct legal information that is required by all operators in their field. Very important. So I'm going to close the screen, and then I'm going to open up the actual authentic government document, again, from the United States. So just going to open up that now. As you can see, it says authentic US government information, and that's GPO, where you have there, and you have, again, the Code of Federal Regulations, and you have Title 21, Food and Drugs. So if everyone don't know what FDA stands for, it stands for Food and Drug Administration, Department of Health and Human Service. So like I say, we're going to get straight to the actual title that is the most important at this moment, for those that have not taken the vaccine and, want a way to, want an authoritative way to be able to continue with their own personal choice. So as you can see, Title 21, F, Food and Drugs, and it's Food and Drug Administration. So it's clear, at least it's clear, and these are regulations that are provided to the FDA, so general enforcement regulations. We're gonna go down to, again, as you can see, it's already highlighted. It's number 50, protection of human subjects, because again, humans need protected right now, and we're gonna go in there and read, the specific section that everyone needs to hear, because that's what everyone is really crying. So it's not really an opinion no more. It's just a direct fact I'm providing, because again, everyone is breaching their own legal immunity and privilege by, again, not knowing, again, their own legal barriers. So this is a legal barrier that you have, in case, again, you're being pressured by everyone else other than the FDA themselves. So we're gonna give you what they are regulated by, and what they tell you, what every operator needs, what every operator, every doctor, everyone needs within, again, their requirements. So if no one doesn't have this, and you're being forced, then again, they cannot push this on you if they don't have this in their own tools. So this is very important, very important. As you can see now, like I say, part 50, protection of human subjects, and it's subpart A, general provision, and it gives you the scope and the definition. So I'm just gonna go briefly through the definition. This is on YouTube live, so again, you could always actually see for yourself, not only just word of mouth, you could actually see for yourself. So subpart B, informed consent of human subjects, very important. And I'm breaking down the subtitles again. General requirements for informed consent, and there's exceptions from general requirement. Exception from informed consent, requirement for emergency research, elements of informed consent, documentation of informed consent, and then we have for the children, subpart D, and that's additional safeguards for children in clinical investigations. Very important. And you have the IRB duties, clinical investigation not involving greater than normal risk, clinical investigation involving greater than normal risk, but presenting the prospect of direct benefit to individual subject, and also clinical investigation involving greater than normal risk and no prospect of direct benefit to individual subject, but likely to yield generalizability. And again, knowing about the subject, disorder, or condition, and also clinical investigation not otherwise approvable, that prevent or present an opportunity to understand, prevent, and alliterate the severe problems affecting the health and welfare of children. And also, you have requirements for permission by parent or guardian and for assent by children. So again, these are straight protections for, again, for humans, for the human adults and the children. So I'm gonna get into it now because we need to get into this. Okay, and so I'm gonna go into the definitions. And so the first, just the title, because then like I say, just giving you the idea. Then we're gonna get into the main things. So definition: application for research of marketing permits includes, and then it gives you that, and then we continue, and then it shows you also, again, clinical investigation and mean any experiment that involves a test article and one or more human subjects, and that either is subject to a requirement for prior submission to Food and Drugs Administration under Section 505I or 520G of that act. So again, we're talking about acts in the United States. And we have the investigator. So these are all, again, definition. We have spouse investigators, and we have, again, application for investigational device exemptions, very important. We also have, again, institute. We have, again, human subject, mean an individual who is or becomes a participant in research, either as a participant of the test article or as a control. A subject may be either a healthy human or a patient. So important. We have institution. We have, again, institutional review board. That's IRB. So when you hear IRB, that's what it stands for. Again, International Review Board. And we also have International Review Committee. We also have, again, let's give you all the definition. Assent means a children affirmative agreement to participate in a clinical investigation. Mere failure to object should not absent affirmative agreement be constructed as assent. So again, if you don't get that, you cannot go ahead with any children. Children means persons who have not attained the legal age or consent to treatment or procedures involved in clinical investigation under the applicable laws of the jurisdiction in which the clinical investigation will be conducted. Very important. And again, you have parents. Again, parents, a children biological or adopted parents. You have ward, means a child who is placed in a legal custody of the state or other agency, again, institution or entity consistent with applicable federal, state, or local laws. Very important. Also, permission means the agreement. So listen carefully, agreement of parents or guardian to the participation of their child or the ward in clinical investigation. Very important. So we're going to go into subpart B now. Again, this is what I'm saying. Like, people don't really want to hear again their own protection, but they like to hear again things that would lead them away. But again, this is being recorded, so at least they could come back. So the first one is general requirements for informed consent. Again, and that's very important. I'm going to accept as provided in 5023 and 5024. So this is, listen carefully, no investigator may involve a human subject as a subject in research covered by these regulations unless the investigator has obtained the legal, efficient, informed consent of the subject. Like, clearly, it clearly states, yeah, right, informed, again, legally efficient, informed consent of the subject or the subject's legally authorized representative. So if you have a legally authorized representative, they have to give consent. And again, an investigator shall seek such consent only under circumstances that prevent the prospective subject or the representative sufficient opportunity to consider whether or not to participate, and that minimize the possibility of coercion and undue influence. So again, coercion and undue influence. So there's no influence, not supposed to be able to be in these type of condition. Again, the information that is given to the subject or the representative shall be in language understandable to the subject. One second.
Hold on. Guess what? You got shadow banned, dude.
And I know, but it's recorded. It's recorded live, so this part is no problem. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks.
Again, I appreciate it. Yeah. So either way, again, no information subject. No information, no informed consent, whether oral or written, may include any exclusionary language through which the subject or the representative is made to waiver or appear to waiver any of the subject legal rights. Again, they can't use no scientific language to waiver your rights. These are things that are written as your own rights. Think about this. This I'm reading from the FDA regulations. So again, or release or appear to release the investigator, the spouse, the institution, or its agent from liability for negligence. Understand? And again, there is exception from general requirement. This is so important. The first opening statement protects every in the United States individual. It protects every single. Again, this is what you talking about informed consent. Protects them, and so again, there's also exception from general requirements, and it's gonna get into the main points of it. And there's also again exception from informed consent requirements for emergency research. And this again, the reason again, the IRB responsibility for the review, approval, and continuing review of the clinical investigation described in this section may approve that investigation without requiring that the informed consent of all research subjects to obtain if the IRB. So this is again, they have to also approve with the concurrent of a licensed physician who is a member of a consultant to the IRB and who is not otherwise participating in the clinical investigation finds that documents each of the following: the human subjects are in a life-threatening situation. Available, appreciate, again, available treatment are unprevented or unproven or unsatisfactory, and the collection of valid scientific evidence, which may include evidence obtained through randomized, again, placebo controlled investigation, is necessary. So either way, they have to again be in a serious condition. Very important. So we're gonna keep going. Like I say, this is there's all your protection needed, every single thing. And look, elements of informed consent. So these are what's supposed to be in the actual consent. For instance, basic element of informed consent. In seeking informed consent, the following information shall be provided to each subject: a statement that the study involves research, explanation of the purpose of the research and the expected duration of the subject participation, a description of the procedures to be followed, and identification of any procedures which are experimental. Here, these are elements, basic elements that is needed. So that's why again I provided the information to a person. Again, you have to have a statement. Very important. Like I say, these are all direct information. Look, a description of any reasonable foreseeable risk or discomfort to the subject. Important, a description of any benefit to the subject or to others which may reasonably be expected from the research, a disclosure of appropriate alternative procedures of or course of treatment, if any, that might be advantageous to the subject. Also keeps going, a statement describing the um the extent, if any, to which confidential of record identifying the subject will be maintained, and that notes the possibility that the Food and Drug Administration may inspect the record. This is very important. These are hard things that you have to be done before again things can go even forward. And none of these things has taken place because people themselves has breached their own legal rights and privilege. So again, no one can really complain. So six, for research involving more than normal risk and examination as to whether any compensation and any examination as to whether any medical treatment are available if injury occur, and if so, what they consist of, or whether further information may be obtained. Look at that. Again, they have to provide all of these things before you could even continue. This is our elementary things, and explanation of whether to contact for answers to pertinent questions about the research and research subjects' rights. Look at that. These are things that has to take place, and whom to contact in the event of a research-related injury to the subject. 8, a statement that participation is voluntary. Oh my! Listen, this is like I say, FDA, a statement. So everyone that is viewing this with their own eyes, a statement that participation is voluntary, that refusal to participate will involve no penalty or loss of benefit to which the subject is otherwise entitled, and that the subject may discontinue participation at any time without penalty or loss of benefit to which the subject is otherwise entitled. Listen, man, everyone not hearing this. Look, for everyone, like that's what I'm trying to say. You know, when it comes to direct thing, this is so important. This is the FDA regulations telling the FDA this is what again every subject needs to know. A statement that participation is voluntary, that refusal to participate will involve no penalty or loss of benefit to which the subject is otherwise entitled, and that the subject may discontinue participation at any time without penalties or loss of benefits to which the subject is otherwise entitled to. That is this. These are additional elements of informed consent. When appropriate, one or more of the following elements of information shall also be provided to each subject: a statement that the particular look, a statement that the particular treatment or procedure may involve risk to the subject or to the embryo or the fetus if the subject is or may become pregnant. So this is for the pregnant lady that was talking earlier, which are again currently unforeseeable. So these things are clear. So again, for that lady that again that asked, and no doctors that in the room was unable to help that lady. Wish she was in that room. Again, look, these are all for pregnant ladies. Again, a statement that the particular treatment or procedure may involve risk to the subject or to the embryo or to the fetus if the subject is or may become pregnant, which are currently unforeseeable. You know, like I say, man, these things, this is when things are just direct, but everyone is just staring these things up, man. I'm sorry, but that's why I'm here. Again, look, anticipated circumstance under which the subject's participation may be terminated by the investigator without regards to the subject's consent. Again, so these things they're supposed to be seen from long way long, and I'm sorry for people being led the wrong way and being breach of their rights, because these are some crazy fundamental principle that every human being in the United States is supposed to know. Look, any additional cost to the subject that may result from participation in the research, um, the consequential of the subject decision to withdraw from the research or procedure for orderly termination of participation by the subject. Again, there's more. There's so much more. They give you so much protection. I don't know why no one don't listen to again the regulations. The regulation protect gives you all your human rights. A statement that the significant new finding development during the course of the research which may result to the subject willingness to continue participation will be provided to the subject. The approximate number of subjects involved in the study. Also, when seeking informed consent for applicable clinical trial, as defined in 42 USC, again 282 J1A, the following statement. So look again, this is clear. The following statement provides to each clinical trial subject in informed consent document and processes. This will notify the clinical trial subject that the clinical trial information has been or will be submitted for inclusion in the clinical trial register or registry databank under paragraph J of section 402 of the Public Health Service Act. So I don't know what are they saying. Again, this is Public Health Service Act. Everyone should know this in the United States under these things. These are rules that you have to follow. The statement is a description of look again, look, this is what I'm saying. So under the public, so this is why you tell people, this is why you follow regulation. Again, the Public Health Act Service, the Public Health Service Act, the statement is a description of this clinical trial will be available, okay, on, so it gives you the actual UTR. So it's www.clinicaltrial.gov. That's for the United States. That's where you find all the information as required by the US law. So this is required by the US law. So all of this is supposed to be on that channel. So this website will not include information that could identify you. At most, the website will include a summary of the result. You can search this website at any time. The informed consent requirement in these regulations are not intended to preempt any applicable federal, state, or local laws which require additional information to the disclosed for informed consent to be legally effective. Man, look, there are so much points that I don't know how, like I say, doctors, lawyers, every single individual within the USA, not, like I say, knowing these things. This is again their own hierarchy, federal regulations. And just the last one, E, nothing in these regulations is intended to limit the authority of any physician to again provide emergency medical care to the extent the physician is permitted to do so under applicable federal, state, or local laws. Again, and that's the same thing, it covers the whole of it because they need to be permitted. And again, this now section again is for, again, I'm going to jump section. So this is documentation of informed consent. Appreciate it. So documentation of informed consent. So again, more evidence that what you will need required. So except as provided in 56109C, informed consent shall be documented by the use of a written consent. So here again, so everyone in the United States, it's clearly giving you the clear direction. So if you go and you don't get this written consent, like I say, written, it says clearly said written from approved by. So again, except as approved in 56.109C, informed consent shall be documented by the use of a written consent from approved by the IRB and signed and dated by the subject. You have to sign and date it, or the subject legal authorized representative at the time of consent. A copy shall be given to the person signing the form. B, except as provided in 56 again 109C, the consent form may be either of the following: a written consent document that embodies the element of informed consent required by 5025. This form may be read to the subject or to the subject legally authorized representative, but in any event, the investigator shall give either the subject or the representative adequate opportunity to read it before it is signed. Come on, man! These are clearly, it's recorded, so I appreciate the thing. Like I say, this won't be get taken down because again, this is all directly government approved, and that's just how it is. Again, so 2, a short form written consent document stating the element of informed consent required by 50.5 have been presented orally to the subject or to the subject's legal representative of authorized representative. When this method is used, there shall be a witness to the oral presentation. Also, the IRB shall approve a written summary of what is to be said to the subject or the representative. Only the short form itself is to be signed by the subject or the representative. However, the witness shall sign both the short form and a copy. Like I say, these are wow to the summary and the person actively obtaining the consent shall sign a copy of the summary. A copy of the summary shall be given to the subject or the representative in addition to a copy of the short form. So that is for the adults. That's for all the adults. Like I say, if you need it, it will be on YouTube. I'm gonna post it on my Instagram. I'm gonna cut it short so you could get to the points. But this is so impactful to to know that these things are there. These things are there for the whole U.S. citizens before they even go and actually take something that does not like literally that requires all of these strategies, like I say, that requires all of these regulations. And again, because of the language that being pushed, being promoted, they themselves, the individuals themselves in the public, the people that are crying out for information, they're breaching their own legal rights and their own legal privilege and immunity. Very important again. So now this is for subpart D. Again, additional safeguarding for children in clinical investigation, and this is important. Again, and it shows you so I'm going to give you just the title, then I'm going to go into the important part for the actual children. So this is the IRB's duties. So in addition to the two other responsibilities assigned to the IRBs, so again, this is the institution review boards. So again, so as you see under this part and part 56 of this chapter, each IRB must review clinical investigation involving children as subjects covered by this subpart B, and approved only those clinical investigation that satisfy the criteria described in 50.51, 50.52, or 50.53, and the condition of all other applicable sections of this subpart D. Again, and so it tells you, again, the clinical investigation not involving greater than normal risk. Very important, and it gives you also, again, clinical investigation involving greater than normal risk, but presenting the prospect of direct benefit to individual subject. And it gives you again, so just gonna go through the clinical investigation involving greater than normal risk and no prospect of direct benefits to individual subjects, but likely to yield generalizable knowledge about the subject's disorder or condition, and also clinical investigation not otherwise approvable that present an opportunity to understand, prevent, or alliterate a serious problem affecting the health and welfare of children. Very important. So again, all right. So we're gonna do that one, and the last one is again requirement for permission by parents and or guardian, and for assent by children. Very important. So the first one is the clinical investigation not otherwise approvable that present a opportunity to understand, prevent, or alleviate a serious problem affecting the health and welfare of children. So if an IRB does not believe that a clinical investigation within the scope described in 50.1 and 56.101 of this chapter, and involving children as subject matter meets the requirements of 51 55.1, 55.2, 55.3. The clinical investigation may proceed only if the IRB finds that the clinical investigation presents a reasonable opportunity to further the understanding, prevention, or alleviation of a serious problem affecting the health and welfare of children, and the Commissioner for Food and Drugs, after consultation with a panel or of a panel of expert in pertaining to principles, disciplines, for example, science, medical, education, ethics, law, and following opportunities for public review and comments, determines either that the clinical investigation in fact satisfy the condition of 55.1, 55.2, 55.3 as applicable, or that the following conditions are met. The clinical investigation present a reasonable opportunity to further the understanding, prevention, or alleviation of a serious problem affecting the health or welfare of children. And there's also the clinical investigation will be conducted in accordance with sound ethical principle, and again, adequate provisions are made for soliciting the assent of children and their permission of their parents or guardian as set forth in 50.55. So this is 50.55 now. Requirement for permission by parents or guardian and for assent by children. So A, in addition to the determination required under other applicable sections of this subpart D, the IRB must determine that the adequate provisions are made for soliciting the assent of the children when, in the judgment of the IRB, the children are capable of providing assent. The B, in determine whether children are capable or of providing assent. Again, the IRB must take in account the age, the maturity, and the physiology state of the children involved. Again, these things are very important. Again, this judgment may be made for all children to be involved in the clinical investigation under particular protocol, or for each child as the IRB deems appropriate. The assent of the children is not a necessity condition for proceedings with the clinical investigation if the IRB determine that the capability of some or all of the children is so limited that they cannot reasonably be consulted, or two, that the intervention or procedure involved in the clinical investigation holds out a prospect of direct benefit that is that is important to the health or well-being of the children, and is available only in the context of the clinical investigation. Even where the IRB determines that the subjects are capable of ascending, the IRB may still waiver the assent requirement if it finds and documents that the clinical investigation involves no more than normal risk to the subject, The waiver will not adversely affect the rights and welfare of the subject. The clinical investigation could not practicable be carried out without the waiver, and um, whenever appropriate, the subject will be provided with additional pertain information after participation. Very important thing. So additional to the determination required under other applicable section of this subpart D, the IRB must determine in accordance with and to the extent that the consent is required under Part 50 that the permission of each child's parents or guardian is granted. We need to get all that to that way again. In addition to the determination required under other applicable section of this subpart D, the IRB must determine in accordance with and to the extent that the consent is required under Part 50 that the permission of each child's parents or guardians is granted. 1. Where parental permission is to be obtained, the IRB may find that the permission of one parent is sufficient for clinical investigation to be conducted under 50, 51, 50, 52. 2. Where clinical investigation are covered by 50, 53, 50, 54, and permission it to be obtained from parents, both parents must give their permission unless one parent is deceased, unknown, incompetent, or not reasonably available, or when only one parent has, look how clear this, legal responsibility for care and custody of the child. This is, like I say, all of these things has to be passed if we're talking about children. This is safeguarded. Again, the permission by parents or guardian must be documented in accordance with and to the extent required by 5027 G. So this last one. When the IRB determines that assent is required, it must also determine whether and how assent must be documented. So again, and there's welfare, and again, these are for those that are in welfare. So again, it really clears up. All of the protection, all of your legal rights, your barriers that you need to understand. Because, like I say, this, at least I put it there. So at least it's recorded, it's on live. But like I said, I'm gonna break it down. The little parts, I'm gonna put it on the Instagram, so at least people can actually hear and see for themselves that, again, what people are doing to themselves is more than what the doctors are doing to them. Like, it's and not knowing the regulations of these things. Like, you don't have to get all of these things. Like, there is so much protection for people, but they bypass it with their own ignorance. They have to get the doctors have to provide you with statements of they have to be consented, it has to be signed, it has to be every single thing. But again, like I say, ignorance is bliss, and those that are ignorant will feel. And that's why, again, the Bible is so real, because our people get destroyed by the lack of knowledge. This is direct knowledge of the highest authority in the United States. That, again, to even get to the clinical investigation, you have to go through a whole leap of administration. But yet, how comes nothing is not being provided when it's provided as a regulations to be regulated. But again, job's done. At least again, you know where to get direct information, only credible solution, and appreciate everyone for tuning in again on the clubhouse, on again the Insta, YouTube, and this is all good. Like I said, I feel good because I'm the only one. I could state that really the only one that provides the only direct information. And again, as you can see, it says authenticated U.S. government information, GPO, and the Code of Federal Regulations. Like I say, God definitely bless America because it's true. Everything is there, but those that are in ignorance, man, can't help can't help. But those that are fighting, there is solutions. Like I say, it's there. The regulation cover your rights. Your rights is embedded in the regulations. But no one don't want their rights. Then if they don't want it, then that's what's gonna happen. They're gonna suffer for that. And again, what does the future hold now? At least it's there. At least it's there for those that do want to take the time out. So again, I think time has run with at least 50 minutes, but I didn't put no timing on it. But time to close and thank everyone. I appreciate it. Like I say, this is solved online business information solutions service through legislation.gov.uk for all clients in all at all levels and all problems. And today's topic again was solved online legislation updates and solution on US CFR FDA for protection of human subject. And also again, solved online YouTube platform is the report on business solution through legislation.gov.uk by reviewing and highlighting past and present acts. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe to help build a global online business solution system on accountability, sustainability, and transparency in growth and protection. Again, the motto solved online knows that there's no business like the king's business. I want to say give thanks and praise and appreciation. Yes, give thanks and praise and appreciation. And I'll see you on the next show. But this is great. Like I said, I'm just gonna follow throughout all the other steps because there is more steps that needs to take. There's more parts that needs to be, you know, published on live. So at least it's there and everyone could view it for themselves. So I appreciate it. Again, give thanks and praise and appreciation. Have a great evening.